In the heart of a vast, sun-dappled forest, there lived three very different creatures. First, there was Pip. A tiny field mouse with a heart full of courage that far outsized his small frame. Then there was Barnaby, a great big bear with a gentle soul and a love for sweet, juicy berries. And finally, there was Leo, a magnificent lion with a flowing mane and a roar that could shake the leaves from the tallest trees. Now, you might think these three would never cross paths, let alone become friends. A mouse, a bear, and a lion. It sounds like the start of a joke, right? But the forest has a funny way of bringing creatures together. One bright morning, a wave of panic swept through the forest. A great fire, sparked by a lightning strike on the distant dry hills, was blazing a path toward their homes. The air grew thick with smoke, and the birds chirped in frantic alarm. Animals of all shapes and sizes began to flee in terror. Leo, the lion, stood on a high rock, his powerful voice booming across the valley. "Do not panic. We are strong. We will face this fire and turn it back." He was brave, yes, but his plan was simple. Roar at the fire until it went away. He let out a mighty roar, a sound that usually sent shivers down everyone's spine. But the fire, of course, didn't listen. It just crackled and grew, its orange flames licking hungrily at the dry grass. Meanwhile, Barnaby the bear was trying a different approach. He lumbered down to the river, his big paws scooping up water. "I'll douse it," he grunted, splashing a pawful of water towards the advancing flames. But the fire was too big, too hot. His small splashes evaporated into steam before they even reached the blaze. He was strong, but his strength alone wasn't enough. He grew tired and disheartened, watching the fire creep closer. Hiding under a large fern, little Pip watched everything. He saw the lion's useless roars and the bear's futile efforts. His whiskers twitched with worry. The fire was coming for his home, for everyone's home. Fear pricked at his tiny heart. But then, a thought sparked in his mind, a tiny idea, but a clever one. He knew he couldn't roar like Leo or carry water like Barnaby, but he could do something else. He could think. Scurrying out from his hiding spot, Pip ran right up to the mighty lion. "Excuse me, Mr. Leo, sir," he squeaked, his voice barely a whisper against the crackle of the fire. Leo looked down, annoyed at the interruption. "What is it, little one? Can't you see I'm busy saving the forest?" "Your roar is very powerful," Pip said bravely, "but it won't stop the fire. And Barnaby is strong, but he can't carry enough water alone." "But what if? What if we worked together?" Leo scoffed. "Together? What could a tiny mouse like you possibly do?" Pip didn't flinch. "I may be small, but I know this forest better than anyone. I know a place where the river narrows, creating a strong, fast current. And I know about the old, hollow logs scattered on the forest floor. If Barnaby could push those logs into the narrow part of the river, we could build a dam." Barnaby, who had overheard the little mouse, ambled over. "A dam?" he rumbled, intrigued. "Yes," Pip explained excitedly. "A dam to block the river. The water will rise and spill over its banks, creating a wide, wet barrier that the fire can't cross. It's our only chance." Leo looked from the determined little mouse to the hopeful bear. A dam. It was a crazy idea. It was a brilliant idea. For the first time, he saw that his roar wasn't the answer to everything. Maybe, just maybe, this tiny creature had a point. "And what is my part in this plan, little mouse?" the lion asked, his tone softer now. "We need you, Leo," Pip declared. "We need your roar, but not to fight the fire. We need you to gather everyone. Your voice can reach every corner of the forest. Tell them the plan. We need every beaver, every badger, every squirrel, every single animal to help. Some can gnaw trees, others can pack mud and stones. We need all of us." A new light shone in Leo's eyes. He finally understood. His strength wasn't just in his roar, but in his ability to lead, to unite. He leaped back onto his rock, but this time, his roar wasn't one of defiance against the fire. It was a call to action, a summons for unity. He explained Pip's plan, his voice carrying the mouse's clever idea to every frightened ear in the forest. And a miraculous thing happened. The panic stopped. Hope replaced fear. Animals came pouring out of their hiding places, not to run away, but to run toward the river. Barnaby, with his immense strength, began pushing the giant hollow logs into the narrow channel, just as Pip had directed. The beavers, natural engineers, immediately went to work, felling smaller trees and weaving them between the logs. The badgers and foxes dug up mud and clay, while squirrels and other small creatures carried stones in their paws and mouths, packing the gaps in the growing wall. And Pip was everywhere. He scurried back and forth, his small size allowing him to zip through the crowd, directing traffic, pointing out weak spots in the dam, and shouting encouragement in his squeaky voice. He was a mind behind the muscle. Leo stood guard, his presence a comforting reassurance to the smaller animals. He used his mighty roar to warn workers if a stray ember flew too close, and he helped move heavy rocks that even Barnaby struggled with. He was no longer just a king. He was a true leader, working alongside his subjects. It was hard work. The smoke stung their eyes and the heat was intense. But no one gave up. They worked as one, a symphony of cooperation. The dam grew higher and stronger. Soon, the river water began to pool behind it, rising and rising until it spilled over the banks, flooding the forest floor and creating a wide, marshy fire break. When the fire finally reached the edge of the forest, it met the wall of water. It hissed and sputtered, its power extinguished by the cool, wet ground. The flames died down, leaving behind a line of blackened earth that stopped right where the forest's new node began. They had done it. Exhausted but triumphant, the animals gathered by the riverbank. They looked at the dam, a monument to their collective effort. They looked at each other, beaver next to fox, squirrel next to badger, and a new sense of community filled the air. Leo walked over to Pip, who was perched on a smooth stone, and bowed his magnificent head. "Little mouse," he said, his voice full of respect. "Today, you were the biggest of us all. You taught me that true courage isn't about how loud you can roar, but how well you can listen. And true strength isn't found in muscle alone, but in working together." Barnaby patted Pip gently on the head with one giant claw. "You saved our homes, Pip. You saved all of us." From that day on, the forest was a different place. The mouse, the bear, and the lion became the unlikeliest but most steadfast of friends. They proved to everyone that kindness and courage come in all sizes, and that when we combine our different strengths, there is no problem so great that we can't overcome it together. And Pip, the tiny mouse with the giant heart, was a hero to them all. Thanks for watching our story today. If you enjoyed it, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales that warm the heart. See you next time.